Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Morning Show. I'm your host, Allison Ankerstar, and today we'll be talking about the Google stock split, Goldman Sachs crushing earnings, and the potential for crypto spring. Before we begin, as a reminder, this is a financial education presentation and should not be construed as personal financial advice. Full disclaimer information is available at ankerstarwealth.com. Good morning, Steve. Google stock split on Friday after the close of business. What does this mean for Google investors?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thanks for that intro, Allison. And a lot to be excited about this morning. We had a nice big green day Friday, and then today we show up and the futures are in the green. And one of the things people are, one of the catalysts that's out there is the Google stock split. So, there's the green across the board I was talking about. We'll get back to earnings here in a second. When you look at Google, if you hold this again, the parent company is Alphabet. So to be proper, we would be talking about the Alphabet stock split, but no one does. It's Google, and the ticker's still GOOG. And we've been loading up on this. So when you look at the 6-month chart that I have pulled up for you, I mean, this split was announced way back in early of 2022. We started buying there. That turned out to be way too early. We bought the crud out of it in the past couple months. So it's really positioned pretty nicely to go higher. So as a stock split, what you saw, or if you check your balances, you might see normally if you have a $200,000 account, you might see that it's at 300,000 this morning, right? Because what happened is when the stock splits, it's a 20-for-1 split. So each share that you have now becomes 20 shares. And the reason sometimes you'll see the discrepancy is the stock price was up at 20 times 113. So what's that? 2,200. We'll call it at 2,200. And then at Friday close of business, your shares, you get 20 times the amount of shares. Well, the stock price that is published is only the spot price. So that means until a trade executes, the price is going to be up at 2,200. But as soon as trade one executes this morning, now it drops down to the spot price and everything resets. So sometimes around stock splits, people can get really confused, thinking they either have made or lost a ton of money when that is not the case. If you do remember, there was an options trader back in the day. Maybe a year ago, a year and a half, I think maybe it was during COVID, younger person that anyhow was confused by what they were looking at and ended up killing themselves, thinking that they thought that they owed all this money and they didn't, right? It was just the machine catching up with what's actually going on. So don't freak out if your portfolio all of a sudden over the weekend jumps or drops a huge amount just due to a stock split. But the basics of the stock split, if you have a $100 bill and you split it 20-for-1, then you have a $25 bills, right? There's no extra value being added there. The only difference really in the stock world is now the stock price is a little more affordable for folks that can come in at the $100 level instead of the $2,200 level. So doesn't make a really big difference in valuation on the big end, but there will be a lot more shareholders now that the stock price is lower. And when you look about, is it a good deal? Well, there's a lot to like with Google. Even staring down the face of a recession, people are still going to advertise, which is largely their main revenue stream. There's others out there, but you have earnings per share. They're making money at 20 PE for a fantastic firm like this. So not only do I like Google here, I think it's poised to go not only higher but much higher. In relation to especially where it was not too long ago.
Next, Goldman Sachs crushed earnings this morning. Is ticker GS a buy, sell, or hold?
Yeah, Goldman Sachs and Bank of America both crushed earnings this morning. They had to work for it, which means when bond trading or other trading type results, these big firms have trading desks that sit there and try to go heavy volume and trade and eke out pennies here and there, and that turns into millions and billions, if you will, if done correctly. But they have to actively work and crank out that amount of money, versus being able to sit back and buy stocks and ride them higher, sort of thing. But yeah, the stock's up 4% this morning. There's the CEO. I do like where Goldman Sachs is as far as the chart. Then we'll talk about David Solomon here in a second. So bumped up on Friday, bumped up again today. Here's the chart, coming off of ridiculous lows, if you will. I think the market's been oversold. You've heard me say that. 2.7% on the dividend, and then single digit PE ratio. I mean, a lot to like here for Goldman Sachs. I still like JP Morgan better, but I could certainly see moving into Goldman Sachs here. Last thing is, if you don't think you can have a side gig, check this out. Yeah, David Solomon is actually DJ Saul. He does some DJ gigs to the tune of, several thousands a night. And I don't know how old he is, but he's not, no, there it is, 60 years old. So anyhow, out living his best life, not only CEO of a major, arguably one of the best investment banking firms in the nation. He's also DJ hustling on the side. So kind of an interesting story there.
Last, Bitcoin jumped 5% this morning and Ethereum jumped almost 10%. Is the crypto winter over?
Yeah, so let's look at Ethereum, or let's look at crypto across the board. So you kind of see the big numbers there, 5%, 10%. You get off into Ripple and some of the others jumping significantly. But really, when you look, the crypto winter has been brutal, right? And is the crypto game over? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Well, Bitcoin alone was up here at 60,000 near the end of last year. Thanksgiving, people are sitting around talking about their Bitcoin and, getting fat on turkey, if you will, enjoying the good life, not knowing that 6 to 7, 8 months later it would be off by 66%, right? So here there, everybody, it's going to 100K right by the end of the year. Yep, that's what everybody thought, and now it's been hit so hard. I mean, just brutal. Bitcoin's the official currency of 2 countries out there, which is obviously has not been a fantastic move for those countries. And then there are several companies out there that have loaded up on Bitcoin on their balance sheet, including Tesla. There's an article this morning out about how it's affecting Tesla's bottom line. But crypto winter, yes, across the board, crypto sold off. Could it all still go to zero? It could. So it real largely comes down into your belief. If you believe that crypto has a place in this world, which I do, I think Bitcoin does, Ethereum does, and maybe Ripple, then this would be a buying opportunity. I personally am not buying right here. I'm more than happy to wait. It's been a brutal enough, when you look at investing from a human dynamic perspective, the year has been brutal. The last thing I'm going to do, either personally or professionally, is load up into a high risk asset going into, we've already, it's just been brutal this year. We're not going to double and triple the risk right now, right? In a bear market, you are simply positioning your bets for the next bull market. I'm okay with giving crypto a little bit of a space before I see a little more of a recovery before I hop back in. Unlike stocks, where I'm perfectly happy moving back in because there's companies behind those stocks, not just the belief that it'll go higher. So overall, if you're a crypto fan, this is your sign, honestly, to load up. If you're more than content like me to be on the sidelines and watch this one out, then yeah, stay tuned. But yeah, I would like to see a little bit higher move up in Bitcoin, Ethereum across the board before we actually start putting money to work here.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Please submit your questions as a comment through social media or directly to our email at vipservices@ankerstarwealth.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get daily updates. That's all we have for today's show. I'm Allison Ankerstar, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.